Richard Bruton's department for a briefing from the department, where they just say there's a ream of propaganda saying how brilliant it was all going to be. Now, I knew it was bullshit, and I knew the general arguments, but what your intervention shows, and it also relates to the question about developing policies, right, and putting forward the alternative, and not just saying we're against this, right? Because I agree with that young woman. I don't know where she is now.
Here.
Under the table.
Our problem is there's not enough of us, right? When I look at the knowledge and the expertise and the ability and the energy that's just in this room, and the faces that I don't know who have this knowledge, that is what we have to harness, right? And that is the point of what we're saying when people report problems. I mean, do I know when I stand up talking about zero-hour contracts, the reality of zero-hour contracts, do I have the knowledge, or does the Duns worker have the knowledge? The Duns worker has the knowledge. The only way I'm going to get the knowledge and be able to put her case is if we have an organisation which is made up of Duns workers and people who know about TTIP and people who are at the sharp end of whatever it is that this gang of mafia that are running this country are inflicting on us, right? And this is our biggest problem. The rich are very few, but they are very well organised, right? And they divide themselves up, and they say, okay, you guys are going to do all the PR and the spin and the strategizing for how we'll get hold of the water, and you guys, another group of extremely well-paid spin doctors and PR guys, you're going to sit down and plan out how we're going to get hold of Dublin Bus and privatise it, and you guys are going to sit down and strategise and privatise how we're going to get hold of the forests, and there's another gang who are even trying to get hold of the seaweed. The seaweed! Right? We're trying to privatise the fucking seaweed! It sounds funny, but it's actually a huge resource. Right? So they're well organised. So we are not well enough organised, not because we don't want to be, not because we don't recognise the need to be, because there's not enough of us. Right? So we need to get, in the next few months, we need, I think, and listening to this and coming into the election, we need to have a big get-together where we have workshops with people who are experts. And by experts, I do not mean that you have to have a PhD. I mean that you have a passion, an interest, or a direct experience of something. If you're a young person, if we're developing policies about what affects young people, I want to hear young people develop the policies. They know what the story is. So that is the kind of organisation we're trying to build. And we need you to be part of it. There's not enough of us to do it. But the energy, the knowledge, the experience, the ability is in this room. And it was on the streets in the last few months in the demonstrations. The capacity to change Irish society root and branch and tear this mafia out is there, right, but it is not organised, and that is what we are committed to doing. I'll just say a word on the, so that's why we need you, and we need your ideas. So if you think we haven't got a developed enough policy in a particular area, we want you to help us develop that policy, right, and we do. I mean, we don't, in some areas the policy is more developed, in others it's not, but we need you to input into that. And as far as I'm concerned, everybody here is just as expert as the so-called experts they parade on RT. In fact, you're 10 times more expert than that, right? Because they're idiots most of the time that they're wheeling out. So people have to have confidence in their own capacity and ability to change the world, but it has to be organised and coordinated. And that's what we're trying to do when people call problems. So please get involved with us. Just a quick word on sort of working with the others, Sinn Féin or whatever it is. And with Sinn Féin and other parts of the left, because I mean, I didn't go into this at the beginning, but I just say this. Our attitude is this. We, on any particular issue, we will work with anybody who's willing to fight on that issue. So some on the left didn't want to work with Sinn Féin at all, right? We didn't take that view. We were the ones who initiated the set-up of Right to Water. The first meeting of Right to Water was organised by Breed in the Gresham in conjunction with the United States. to other organisations. And we invited, a meeting I organised in the door, we invited Sinn Féin, we invited independents, we invited other trade unions. And to be honest, some of those people have tried to hijack the bloody thing when we started. We care more about the movement, right? So we stick in with it because we understand that whatever we may think of Sinn Féin or some of these trade unions, they have supporters, and if we're going to build a mass movement, we have to work with them. Okay, so that differentiates us from some on the left who say, I'm never going to work with them because I don't like them, right? Or they're sellouts, they're going to sell out in the future. We don't take that attitude. On the other hand, as Kieran said, we have to tell the truth.
Well done, Kieran.
We have to tell the truth.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry, I wish it wasn't true, but if you just go on and read, Google the Stormont Agreement and read it. It's only about 10 pages. And I'm sorry, I don't like to say it to good people I know in Sinn Féin, because they don't maybe aren't following what's going on in the North. They can't believe Adams would do this. But look at the agreement they've signed. It's very, very detailed. And it says, slash 20,000 jobs in the public sector, privatise state assets, and reform social welfare, by which they mean cuts in the social welfare. And in fact, it also includes stuff about charges. It's not specific, it doesn't say water charges, but it talks about the need to implement user charges for services, right? So we have to tell the truth about that. Not least because we owe a certain solidarity to working class people in the North who are going to suffer from this. And if we honestly believe in the United Ireland, it's not an abstract thing about the flag and 1916 celebrations. It's about supporting working class people in the North now who are going to lose their jobs, who are going to have so-called social welfare reform inflicted on them, or who are going to have their state assets sold off by the Northern government, of which Sinn Féin are a part. So we have to be honest about that and straight up. Because you're not, we've had too much lies and spin. So we will work with people because we know that's the most effective way to mobilise large numbers of people, but we're going to be honest within that when it comes to the issues. Because you can't build a movement without please get involved.
Right, thanks very much. Okay, can I just say the two final things? People Before Profit website, if people haven't already done it, People Before Profit have put out a letter calling for a radical left alliance. So anybody who hasn't already signed that letter, please get on to the People Before Profit website and sign the call for a radical left alliance. We want to be able to make a statement before the Brendan Ogle's so-called May the 4th conference to say that there is strong support in this country for a radical left alliance. So get on and sign that letter and share it and get it signed. In relation to the May the 4th conference, can I ask anybody who's working in the community sector to lambast Brendan Ogle with emails asking, how does the community sector get involved as a community rep in that conference? Because I know from anybody I've been talking to in the community sector, they have not been consulted with around the community representation. That people are being cherry-picked, who are not going to raise questions, who are not going to challenge Brendan Ogle, and who are going to roll over. So if you're working in the community sector, send them an email and ask how are the people in the community sector being selected for that. And finally, just to sign up for People Before Profit if you're not already a member, and get your copy of The Socialist Worker. Thanks a million.